Hey, good morning, everyone. This is Pastor Jeff Barkley. I call the Wednesday talks Midweek Wednesday Mettle. I try to limit these talks to 5 minutes. Let's see if I can do that. I want to talk about some things at ground level, eye level, big picture, come back to ground level. I was so impressed with the two mothers that shared to our congregation on Mother's Day. In spite of everything going on in the world, they were obviously committed to one thing, raising their children up, as I said on Monday, in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Colossians chapter 3 addresses that. I was reading from Galatians 5 on Monday. It says, "Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Parents, do not embitter your children or they will become discouraged." And these moms are doing a great job to avoid that. Goes on to talk about employees. Employees, obey your earthly masters in everything and do it not only with eye service to curry their favor, but with sincerity of heart, understanding that God is your employer and not man. That's at ground level. That's what we're supposed to be about. That's gospel orientated. I love this song by Ryan Stevenson called The Gospel. Been emphasizing it.
It's the cure for our condition. It's the good news for us all. It's greater than religion. It's the power of the cross. So can we get back to the...
It's the cure for our condition. It's the power of the cross. That's the baseline of what I'll talk about today. I'm at the upper limits of being able to understand all of the current events right now. So we're at ground level. Now we're going to get big picture. So we've got Arthur Pawlowski in Canada arrested, handcuffed on an interstate in Canada for holding church services. We've got Pastor Coates at Grace Light Church in Canada. They had to meet underground in Canada this weekend because their church has been barricaded, fenced by the government. They're not allowed to meet. Dr. John Sherwood, 71 years old in England, preaching on traditional marriage and was arrested in England, handcuffed, 71 years old for hate speech. Then we've got a church in Bangor, Maine, Calvary Chapel, hopes to have a case in our United States Supreme Court asking that churches simply be allowed to meet and be open like liquor stores, marijuana dispensaries, department stores, big box stores, warehouse stores. Just simply saying, asking the Supreme Court to make a decision, are churches essential services or not? You know, we closed last spring to be a good neighbor. We reopened last July to be a better neighbor. So frankly, I'm on the side of Arthur Pawlowski. I'm on the side of Pastor Coates. I'm on the side of Calvary Chapel in Bangor, Maine. I'm on the side of Dr. Sherwood in England. I believe that churches are essential services. Soul health, spiritual health is vital in this day and in this hour. Then we've got Dark Side, the cyber hack of the Colonial Pipeline. Dark Side is funded by the Russians, so we've got the Russians doing that. We've got Hamas now in a shooting war with Israel. Israel simply defending themselves. Iran obviously funds Hamas. Russia funds Iran. We've got China who provides fuel and oil to Iran. We've clearly got a serious situation in Israel. Then we have stimulus checks being paid to people for not working. That's a ridiculous policy in our country. At ground level, yesterday I went to two small businesses and they were closed, though the hours on the door said they should be open. A bike shop in Eudora, Kansas, and a sewing machine vacuum store here in Lawrence, Kansas. Small essential businesses, but both closed, even though the doors hours said that they should be open, clearly related to everything that's happened, the shutdowns these last 12 months. We got small businesses around here offering signing bonuses for taking a job. People can't get people to come in and interview, and yet people are still collecting unemployment and double dipping with stimulus checks. It seems to me that our federal and state government, at least here in Kansas, federal and state, are really incompetent in managing all that's going on right now. Our governor recently sponsored a requirement for high school students to take a civics class we're offering a Constitution class in our church, and actually we're getting more people for that than we are on Sunday mornings. People are anxious to practice the Constitution and practice their civic responsibilities because things just seem to be out of control. But then we go back to these two moms, and they are simply, in spite of everything, raising their children to be Christians. Hebrews 10 says this, and I want to close with this today because we're just looking at ways, in spite of all that's going on, how to prioritize the gospel in our lives, in spite of everything that's probably beyond any of our comprehensions to understand all that's taking place. Hebrews 10 says this, let us draw near to God with a sincere heart and full assurance of faith, with the full assurance of faith that brings, having our hearts sprinkled to cleanse us from a guilty conscience and having our bodies washed with pure water. That's the washing of water by the word. Regardless of what's taking place, big picture here at Ground Zero, we need to get back to God, draw near to God with sincere hearts. I don't know what the future holds. The future doesn't look well short term. I know the long term picture. Let's get back to the gospel. Let's get back to the altar. That's how this song concludes. Listen to a few more lines. Hey, you have a great rest of this week. Regardless of what's going on in the world today, press into Jesus. Press in through the gospel, which is called the good news of God's kingdom. This is Wednesday Morning Mettle here in Lawrence, Kansas. Pastor Jeff Barclay.
Back to the arms of our first love. There's only one way to the Father, and He's calling out to us, to the captive that looks like freedom, to the orphan that feels like home.
There's only one way to the Father. That's Jesus Christ. It may sound crazy to some, but to the orphan, it feels like home. Let's return to our Heavenly Father through His Son, Jesus Christ. You have a great rest of this week.